Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with other entrepreneurs that have overcome and want to provide value to the audience. It's Dr. V here with our coaching program. Teaches nurses to work on their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning that own time, building profitable nurse coaching and consulting businesses. So today we have Portia Wofford. So Portia is a powerhouse. Okay, she comes into any room with like this wealth of information, and she talks really, really fast because she's got, you know, how when people really, really smart and they talk really, really fast, that's how Portia is. So she comes in and she talks fast because she has all this information in her head that she has to get out. So, Portia, if you had to just give us a brief bio of who you are, just kind of give us who you are.
So my name is Portia Wofford. Hey y'all. I'm a LPN, been nurse since 2010. And I've done everything in nursing, probably as you can think of, as far as on like I call it like the administrative management side of nursing. So I've done long-term care, I've done home health, I've done quality assurance, infection control, helping train like in corporate management as well. And then I launched a side hustle in 2017 as a freelance writer, and that turned into a full-time job. And I'm also the reigning Miss Black Alabama USA.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. So now tell us, you said that when you first went into nursing, you knew that nursing would not be the thing that you would not retire
Oh,
from nursing.
yeah, I knew that. Well, I don't think that's just nursing. I think if I had become a teacher, if I had been any career, I knew that I wouldn't stay there for 20 years, 30 years and retire in that field. It's just I've always kind of had like that entrepreneurial spirit. And so I knew like within my first or second year of nursing, I'm like, this is not gonna be me forever. Mm-mm.
So what made you think that that wasn't going to be you forever? Give us an incident.
Just the politics of nursing, just I dealt with my first 2 years of nursing. I had a boss who was very wasn't very nurturing and welcoming, very catty. And so I was like, if this is what it's like, then I know like this is not something I'm gonna deal with. I'm very introverted, kind of a loner. And so I just knew like I wasn't gonna deal with that. And just, just seeing just the politics of nursing, just, not being able to go home because when you're in nursing school they don't really prepare you for what nursing is like when you get out there in the real world. And so not realizing that, hey, I'm working my 8-hour shift, but I might be here for 2 hours over because I got to get my charting done. Or in long-term care, usually you do your own wound care, your own admissions, your own discharge. You don't have a wound nurse, or you don't have a discharge or admission nurse. And so I was working over, missing things, having to ask to be off work, and then just the burnout. In long-term care, a lot of nurses that never work long-term care, they just think, oh, I don't think they doing long-term care. They just deal with little old grandmas that have dementia. They don't know that you're dealing with the dementia patient, and the patient has a psych issue, and then you're dealing with the wound care, and it's a lot all in one environment in long-term care. So that can get very overwhelming, and I got just burnt out. And I just knew it wasn't just something that I wanted to do for like the next 20 years.
Sweet. I know that's right. I know that's right. So now you left long term care, you went into home health, and then
Hmm.
there was the transition there.
Right.
Now, the transition, so tell me what happened then.
So I had a friend who was a home health nurse, and that I worked with when I was in long term care setting. And she called me one day and she said, she's like, I know you like to educate people, you like to teach people. Have you ever thought about doing home health? I didn't know what home health was. Like I kind of had an idea. I knew you went to people's homes, but I didn't really know what it was. And my first thing to her was, no, I'm not going to anybody's house because I'm scared of dogs. And so I don't want to do that. She's like, it'll be fine. You don't have to deal with that. Just come and try it out. So I went and I tried it out. And I loved it. I love the fact that I got to be like one-on-one with my patients, that I got to teach them everything. I love the autonomy. You're out there by yourself for the most part. And the area that I worked in, you might not have another nurse like an hour away. So you have to get really good at your skills, really good at your assessment, really confident in your skills, confident in your documentation, and confident in coordinating care with the team. So I got really good at like talking to providers, talking to like the physical therapist, occupational therapist, social worker, just the whole interdisciplinary team. I got really good at that because, like I said, you can be out there by yourself and you don't get that IV started, you don't get that blood drawn. There's not another nurse for an hour. So you got to get it done. And I like that. I love the teaching part. I really like the teaching part. But what I noticed is that my patients, like the goal of home health is to keep your patients out of the hospital. Because usually they've been in the hospital and the hospital sends them home on home health to keep them out so they can get their reimbursement. Because they go back in within 30 days, then, they don't get reimbursed. And so that was our goal. And so I noticed that my patients kept going back into the hospital. And I'm like, I know I'm teaching them good. Like, this is what I do. Usually people tell me I'm a really good teacher. So I don't understand why they keep going back into the hospital. And back then I was always using that word non-compliant. Oh, my patients are just non-compliant. But what I love about home health is that you get to see, it's really holistic nursing because you get to see everything. You get to see how these people are living. You get to understand that this person has to choose between getting their medication or going to their doctor's appointment and paying their light bill or buying groceries for their home. And if I had a choice between getting my insulin or getting my high blood pressure medication and paying my light bill, I'm going to pay my light bill. And so you kind of see those social determinants of health when you're in home health. And so also the literacy, health literacy. A lot of people, when you're in home, because if you're working in the hospital and you're discharging, or you're working in long-term care, you're discharging, you might spend 30 minutes, maybe 45. If you got a really good team that's going to let you spend 45 minutes in there with your patients, and then they're saying, do you understand? Yeah, I understand, because they're ready to go home. But when you're in their home, you can kind of see they don't understand. And so I started asking them, do you understand? Like, do you understand this stuff that I'm teaching you? And they would say, well, when you're here, I understand it. But when you leave, I don't really understand. Like, the agency gives you brochures and pamphlets and things like that. I don't really understand those. And so what I did was I rewrote it so that my patients can understand it. I just rewrote it in what I say layman's terms, easy to read stuff. I would maybe sometimes I would draw something and let my patients know, this is what this means. This is what this medication is for. And I just break it down for them. And then what we noticed in the agency was that my patients started having the lowest readmission rate. And so that's kind of what led me into writing, because I knew that people like to understand things that are easy to read. And I just Googled one day if nurses could make money writing, because I wanted to make some extra money, but I was working a full-time job and a PRN job. And yeah, nurses can do that. So that's how I ended up writing. And it just stemmed from like my home health journey. I went into quality assurance and I was in home health, basically just auditing charts from the other nurses and saying, this is what you missed. Why didn't you ask the patient this? Or, this patient hasn't been to the doctor, and the doctor won't see them because they haven't been in a year. And then, well, did you find out why they didn't go to the doctor? Well, yeah, they have an old bill, and so the doctor won't see them until they pay the old bill. Well, then we need to set them up with a social worker so that we can see if we can get that help, financial assistance, so they can see their primary care provider, or they can go and see that specialist so they can get control of their diabetes or control of their kidney failure or heart failure, whatever the situation may be.
I love everything about that. I used to work in the emergency department, and one of the things that I used to always say, just like you said, was that patients were non-compliant. But it wasn't until, like you did, so then I became the readmissions manager. And when I became the readmissions manager, what I started to see was that people were not non-compliant. People just did not have the resources, just as you said, and then just didn't know. Like this one lady went home, and she was diabetic, and the nurse had taught her how to give her insulin, right? Well, she taught her how to give her insulin by injecting it into this apparatus, right?
Mm.
The lady took she found another apparatus and she started injecting the insulin, and we couldn't figure out why her insulin was always high. I mean, her sugar was always high until she came back and she revealed that that's what she was doing. She was not injecting it in her body. And
Oh, wow.
so, what you did was amazing. And we also did something very similar to that with our CHF books because, you know, with the CHF books, we put pictures in there
Mhm.
and the pictures, and then of course broke it down to like a fourth grade level, right? In the reading. So even if they couldn't read, even if they were illiterate in that manner, then they could see the pictures, and we would explain the pictures, and that helped decrease the CHF readmissions, which is a huge cost to
Right,
the organization for sure.
right.
So I love, love, love that. And I love how you went back. Now, when you started writing, tell me what you started writing.
So I reached out to a nursing platform and I asked them if they hired nurses to do their writing because I noticed on their website they had like that's all they talked about was everything in nursing, and they were like, "Yeah, we do, but we would need you to do like a sample piece, and if that goes well, then we can give you more pieces." And so I wrote a sample piece, and I now that I look back, that was a horrible piece. Now that I look back years later, that was a horrible piece, but they liked it and it did really well on their site. And so that's just kind of like started me out. They were my first official client. And of course I was still working full time. And then I just kind of I wrote for them for 9 months to a year, just kind of perfecting my craft and understanding because writing blog posts is a little bit different than like if you're writing a research paper, if you're writing an essay, it's a skill to it. So I kind of learned as I went. And then I was like, okay, now I'm ready to take on another client. So I just started pitching myself to other platforms and showing them what I had done for that platform. And eventually it led into me having a lot of clients, and I had to make a choice between continuing working full time and running like this business or just diving into the business full time. And so I decided I was going to dive into the business full time.
But I love how you just, because, a lot of times what happens, people, whenever they put things out and it's not perfected, they just stop, right? When the
Mm,
reality is that you started, you recognized that it was not perfect, but then you went on to perfect it from that point forward.
mhm.
Obviously, because now I think you have several clients, correct? Am I
Right,
correct?
I do. I
See,
do.
see, and so you just went on to perfect it, and you just didn't stop. And a lot of times, what happens is we think that well, I failed when I did that. No, you didn't
Mm,
fail. You just learned.
right.
Okay. The next thing is that now you're going to learn something now. So I love that. So now tell me how you got into this into the Miss Black USA, Alabama USA. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's just something that I wanted to do. I did patches when I was younger. And then, I just really did it for a confidence boost. I haven't done it. My son is 14, so I haven't done a pageant in at least 16, 17 years. Took a hiatus. And so I was like, you know what? I want to do something. And plus I wanted the platform to promote my platform in Alabama health. I'm very passionate about health equity. Alabama has like one of the low, like one of the worst states with healthcare. And so I was like, you know what, I need to do something for my state. I've been speaking all over the United States and teaching these doctors and teaching these organizations about health equity and how they can help their patients. And I need to be doing something for my own state, my people. And so I decided to do it. I loved it. I love it. I'm enjoying the journey. I've met so many people across my beautiful state of Alabama. I got to speak to a lot of people. I've gotten to help. One of my platform goals is to let children, specifically Black children, know about healthcare professions. Because I think like once you let a child know, or they see someone who looks like them, then they know, hey, I can do that. If she can do that, or if he can do that, I can do that too. And so I've been really enjoying. I've been getting people to donate books that are health profession related, that center Black like nurses and physicians and things like that, and donating those books to like Boys and Girls Clubs, schools, daycares across Alabama. And I've really enjoyed just seeing those little brown and Black faces light up when they see those, the doctor, or they see the nurse, or the nurse CRNA, or nurse practitioner that looks like them. Also, just being able to speak about health equity. teaching healthcare professionals about health equity. Health equity. We taught over 100 so far. The signature method that we have called Plan of Care is health equity through content, accessibility, responsibility, and education. And then I teach healthcare professionals how they can use social media to promote health equity and access to care. We taught over 100, and then the next goal is when I transition out of the Miss Black USA, Miss Black Alabama USA title, it's my business partner are going to take this into like nursing programs and teach the nursing students this method.
Sweet, sweet. So tell me a little bit about, so when you like, so tell me a little bit about the process of becoming Miss Black Alabama USA. So do you apply, like how does that
Yeah,
work?
so you do, yeah, you apply. And so one thing I like about the organization is it's more than like your outer appearance. Of course, all the women are beautiful. When you see all those black women across on that Miss Black USA stage, like gosh, we're stunning. But they it also, they take into education, they take into your prior community service before you become into the organization. They look at like your social media platforms, and then there's a state director, and then it's like, like any other pageant, you go through a process, and then they choose the best to represent the state, and then you represent your state. And then from there, I went in action August. I went to Washington DC, and we competed for the national title of Miss Black USA. I didn't win, but I came home first runner up, so I was super proud of myself to be second in the entire nation. I'll take that. Top two in the entire nation, I'll take that. And I was proud of myself. Like I said, I haven't done a pageant in 16, 17 years. I'm a mom. I'm in my 30s. And so I just wanted other women to know, hey, it's never too late. If this is something that you want to do, you can do this and go for it. Why not? And my confidence is like went through the roof since I've done it. And it just feels good to let, I'm from a very, very small town in Alabama. And so for the girls to see me do this, it means a lot.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And representation is everything, right?
Mhm.
You want to make sure that you're representing who you. So tell us something about. Tell us some of the speaking engagements that you have went to, and tell us just kind of how that has really changed.
Even before I did the Miss Black Alabama, before I was Miss Black Alabama USA, I was doing speaking engagements with my writing business, because I teach other healthcare professionals how they can make sure that their content is inclusive, how they can use content to reach their patients. So I've spoken to like national nurse practitioner organizations, medical associations. So I've done lots of speaking engagements. But as Miss Black Alabama USA, I've had the opportunity to go and speak to schools, like I said, Boys and Girls Clubs, teaching all these healthcare professionals. So we did like a virtual webinar where we got to teach the healthcare professionals. In October, I'm due to go speak to one of the universities here to their nursing programs. It's senior like nutrition centers, helping them like speak to the seniors about the nutrition, how important it is. And just I'm actually going to speak, do some speaking engagements about I'm an ambassador for an organization that does like charity care, that basically every hospital, nonprofit hospital, is required by law to offer charity care. A lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that until I became an ambassador for this organization. And so I'll be teaching people what charity care is, how they can apply for charity care, because I know that medical debt is a big reason why a lot of people cannot take care of themselves.
So with charity care, let me ask you something. Can they apply for it afterwards, or they have to apply for it during
Yeah,
the
you can
time?
apply for it afterward. There's an application process. Hospitals are supposed to make that available to you. And so this organization basically teaches you what to do. It teaches you the process, lets you know if you're eligible. They teach you how to do it, or you can they'll do it for you.
Sweet, sweet. Ahmad said, I am enjoying. So so now tell us a little bit. Let's go back to the writing, because that's your
Yeah,
agency, that's
that's
your
my baby.
business, that's your baby,
That's
right?
my baby. Yeah.
So tell us in 10 years, like, what do you see the organization going? Like, what is the projection?
So in 10 years, in 10 years, like the agency, I will have sold this writing agency in 10 years. This was like my start. I love it. I still love doing it, but it's led me to other things. So it's led me to create a second business. So my business partner and I own the Healthcare Influencer Network. What we do is we pair healthcare professionals, anyone from nurses, physicians, medical social workers, therapists, pharmacists, dentists. We pair them with healthcare organizations to create social media campaigns. That has taken off this year. Just this year alone, we've paid out over $100,000 to our healthcare professionals that are in our network. And so, and that was the first 6 months of the year. And so that's led us, because we believe, like, we don't promote scrubs or we don't promote stethoscopes. We promote health equity. So the companies that we work for, they believe in health equity. They believe in promoting access to care. And we work with influencers, because I tell all healthcare professionals, you are an influencer. We work with influencers to basically help them get this information out to their audience, their patients. So we've done campaigns such as letting people know how they can get their medications for cheaper. We did a campaign on the COVID-19 vaccines in the Black communities in different states all over the United States. And so we're working on we done a mental health campaign during Nurses Week and talked about the effects of COVID-19 on the mental health of nurses, and that was very powerful. And so we're working on that. And so I imagine that being in 10 years, that will be a multi-million-dollar company. And we're also working on a health tech solution that will hopefully bring to the market next year.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. And I love how you said that, because the reality is that a lot of times we go into business and we think that we're just going to work in the business the whole time. But having succession planning and having legacy and understanding exactly what you want to begin with, the end in mind, is
Mm-hmm.
very, very key for you to be able to move forward and move forward in an effective way.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love it. Now, is there anything else that you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, just go out. If there's something that you want to do, I'm not sure how many people watching this, but do it. A lot of people say, well, I need to get this in place, or I need to get that in place, or can I do this? Especially LPNs. I get so many messages from LPNs are saying, well, can I do that? Or I didn't know LPNs can do that. There's rarely any business that you cannot start. There might be some things you might have to put in place. Like if you wanted to do a med spa, of course, you're going to need a nurse practitioner or RN or physician on board. There are rarely any businesses that you cannot start. And I tell nurses all the time, there are people who have no healthcare background. They have no medical background, and you're working for them. You are working for them. They're running $1 million companies, and you are working for them because you want to go through the red tape. Because you, like, nurses, like, we feel like we have to ask for permission. Just think about it. We have to ask for permission to even give a Tylenol to someone, and so we feel like we have to ask for permission for everything. So just go out and do it. Look, read your state laws, regulations, see who you have to put in place to get it done. But that shouldn't stop you from getting it done. Another thing that stops nurses is, I don't have a website, so get started. There are lots of free platforms out there that you can use to do a website. Even if you're just on social media and you're going to start talking about your business on social media, get out there and get it done. And if you don't know how to do something, then reach out to someone who can help you. Someone who's already been there, get a coach. I firmly believe in working with a coach, and just, get it done. Stop using excuses. I think a lot of nurses, we're scared, and so we come up with all these ideas and we try to justify why we can't do what we need to be doing. There is nothing that can stop you. Anything that I wanted to do, even when I was working as an LPN, they would say, well, LPNs only can work in nursing homes. You'll never be in management. That's a lie. When I left nursing, I was training corporate. I was training corporate nurses. Like, I was training an entire corporation of infection control and staff development nurses. So, it can be done. You just have to put yourself out there and figure out a way to do it. So that's all I wanted to leave. If you guys can follow me on Instagram at the right nurse, WRITE nurse. LPNs, I have something coming up for y'all next month, so that y'all can say, if she can do it, I can do it. And I'm going to show y'all how I did it. And then if you're interested in becoming a freelance writer, I do have a course, but you guys can feel free to message me on Instagram. I am on Facebook, but Instagram is my jam. So message me on Instagram. I'll get back with you.
Nicole said, wonderful conversation.
Thank
Smile of
you.
Smile is very nice, Ahmad said. So indeed, Ahmad. So thank you all for watching. And the deal is just like Portia said, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do. And there are people that we're working for, and you're giving them your $1 million ideas. Take your
Hmm.
$1 million ideas and you take it and you run with it. And literally, it will be a game changer. You one step at a time. Again, a coach is super important. So we will be having a master class. Speaking of coaches, we will be having a master class on how to become a nurse coaching consultant, working less time and working less and owning your own time. The date is October 12th. 2022 from 6 until 8 p.m. I ask that you like and share this podcast, and you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. And thank you, Portia, for
Thank you.
joining us. It has been amazing.
Thank you.